Did you know that last year, more than 500,000 adults and 35,000 children were homeless or at risk of homelessness throughout the United States? Homelessness can affect anyone: families, single parents, children, and veterans. They all ask, "Where can I get help?" In the past, help was a confusing maze of phone calls, appointments, and referrals. Now we have a much more efficient method of helping anyone and everyone in need of housing services: coordinated entry. So what is coordinated entry? Coordinated entry is a process that ensures all people experiencing a housing crisis have fair and equal access and are quickly identified, assessed for, prioritized, and connected with housing and assistance based on their strengths and needs. How does the process work? Access. First, the individual or household facing homelessness will present at an access point or through community outreach to be screened. These access points are designed to allow access to housing services with as few barriers as possible. These access points are also trained to ensure the safety of domestic violence victims, as well as ensuring privacy protection for all participants. Assessments. Staff or volunteers of the access point or outreach program will then collect consent and pre-screening. Diversion and prevention questions are included in the pre-screening assessment to ensure that households that can be diverted or prevented from entering into homelessness receive any services available. The pre-screening asks questions to help understand what factors contributed to the housing crisis and what types of interventions might help the crisis. Pre-screening should be completed immediately or as soon as trained staff become available. The VI-SPDAT, or Vulnerability Index Service Prioritization Decision Assistance Tool, is an assessment that uses standardized questions to fairly prioritize placement based on vulnerability and need. The scores on this assessment determine what priority the client or household will have for housing placement. There are also similar assessments for families and transition-aged youth, which use a similar scoring method. These assessments should only be provided to people who meet the HUD definition of literally homeless, also referred to as Category 1 homeless. Pre-screening assessment information should be entered into your HMIS or Homeless Management Information System as soon as possible, no later than 3 days of the assessment, while VI-SPDAT information should be entered no later than 7 to 14 days. Prioritization. Next, the client will work with a case manager to determine the individual or household's vulnerability, eligibility for programs, and prioritization while continuing to seek readily available community services. Case managers meet with housing specialists and other area service providers during case conferencing on a frequent basis to discuss project openings and client concerns. If the household is eligible for services but none are available, they are put on a community waiting list, prioritized by their vulnerability and assessment scores. A COC-wide Master by Name list is a list of all known individuals who have experienced homelessness in the COC area and who have not been confirmed as housed. A COC-wide active list contains all clients who have accessed services within the last 90 days. Those on the active list should be continually engaged with case management and working towards finding housing. While on the active list, households receive case management services to help them maintain safe sleep and shelter arrangements and prepare for the housing service application. Those who have not accessed services are placed on an inactive list until it is confirmed that they are housed or begin to access services again. All households, including those not eligible for housing services, work with a case manager to develop a housing stability plan. This plan could include utility and rent assistance, temporary shelter, food pantry access, mainstream assistance programs, or personal resources and connections. Referral. Once an opening is available, a referral is made to an agency to complete the application for housing services and begin the housing search. Referrals are made for the most appropriate housing assistance, such as emergency shelter or permanent supportive housing. If a client is able to self-resolve, no referral will be made to COC housing providers, but may be referred to other mainstream services within the system. Through coordinated entry, families, single parents, and individuals are on the path to housing stability as quickly as possible, while making the most effective use of community resources.